Hi everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel's Finding Value. Today we're going to do our daily technical analysis update for commodities. We're going to work our way through the dollar, yields, precious metals, and commodities ETFs that I follow. I'm going to interject my financial opinions as we go. And if you need help with anything, check out finding-value.com. That's where I dive deeper into these sectors that you're seeing for individual companies, individual stock picks. Yes, I do look for ones that have huge upside leverage. I have other ones that have higher probabilities of success. What does that all mean? I go through it during those question and answer sessions. Speaking of, we do have one at 5 p.m. Sunday is our next question and answer session. Let's dive in. Let's take a look, see what's going on. We've got the DXY here, and we are still sitting on top of that support level. The big support level going through here, we're sitting on top of it. Now, does that mean that we are automatically going to go higher? Not automatically. But what I would say is that the likelihood of going up in the DXY is more likely if yields are going up. And yields are, in fact, going up. We can see yields go up and the dollar go down if other currencies' monetary policies are tighter or are perceived to be better than America. But right now, we're sitting on top of the trend line, and the path of least resistance, in my opinion, is still up, sideways to up. Looking at the 2-year yield, we had a monster day today, up 2.11%. Now, a lot of people have thought, and we can do some moving of these lines here. I'll just kind of delete this stuff here. And then that one ended there. So we've got this pullback here, pretty strong selling pressure coming through. We bottomed with this candlestick there, which is a bullish engulfing. We came back up, and we are still seeing some strong buying pressure here. I would put a trend or a resistance line going across here, and then I would put another trend line going through here, a little cleaner chart pattern. Kind of a weird looking configuration here. We entered this from the top side down. We've consolidated, but we do have pretty big buying pressure candlesticks showing up. This very well could break to the upside, where we work our way to the upside instead of continuing lower. I know a lot of people think that yields are going to go down with the dollar going down as well, but that is not what I see at this time yet. To me, this still looks like we want to go higher. And that's based off these big green candlesticks and the small selling pressure that we're seeing here, which is that stair-step pattern that we continue to get to the upside. The 10-year yield also up quite dramatically today, up 1.65%. We're up above that support level. We're still above it. We still have this inverted flag pattern that's sticking around. So nothing's broken yet. And we're still above support, getting some strong selling or getting some strong yields moving on up. The 30-year also has that same situation, inverted flag. We're above support. We have a stronger selling pressure day for bond prices, upwards for yields. So we're hanging in there at this current yield right now, and we're moving sideways that way with a slight uptick tinge. TYX TNX ratio backing out. I mean, we've basically just been sideways here. We have an inverted yield curve. We've been moving sideways, staying inverted. The ideal buy point for gold is when this inversion stops, and we've been going sideways. Your buy point was in September, October of 2022. And if this goes and it uninverts, gold is getting an extra kick to the pants to the upside. Historically, that's what's occurred. But gold's looking strong even with yields and the yield curve inverted and yields going up still. Bond prices down, and this is where the problem lies. Could we see further downside in bond prices and further upside for yields? My guess is yes. My guess is that the bond market is screwed, and we're in a very large bear market in bonds where yields continue to go higher. That is what I am seeing. And then the 2 and 10-year inversion of the curve, and it is staying inverted, but it still looks like we could maybe uninvert in the short term with this bear flag. Looking at gold, I got a reading about $34 an ounce. Looks very strong. I had to refresh thinking this was a weekly candlestick, but it's a pretty big candlestick up here. We've had a pretty big run up. We could continue to run. The momentum's to the upside, and it still looks good. So, yeah, everything with gold looks fantastic. Back out a little bit, and we are a run, Forest, run above this breakout level. Silver up almost 1%, 25 cents. We're at 27.50, roughly speaking. We have broken the trend line, this trend line to the upside. This is a big deal. I think further upside is in store for us. Now, here's the thing, guys. I don't trade silver. This is really hard to trade, and the short-term market movements can move quickly in both directions. We could have short, brief pullbacks that just rip like we did today. Very tough to trade. And if you back out and take a big picture view look, and let's go to the 12-month here just to show you something very easy to see. This to me looks like a clear breakout. We've got a big cup and handle, and this is going to work its way on up. That's my take on it. With the projected price move, $275 an ounce. Eventually, not immediately. I mean, it could be, I guess, but eventually. Looking at platinum, we're down a little bit. Let's go to the dailies here. So platinum, we sold off quite hard morning, and then we came back up throughout the day. It doesn't look too bad. The way that I view this is we're just consolidating before a very big move. You've got your 3-hump consolidation. We've basically did a false breakout, broke out, and we are consolidating on top of the breakout. Sometimes you get that on long time frames. Then it's going to do a rippy, and our boy Palladium is going to be a fun little ride. And then Palladium, a large down day today, 3.2%. It doesn't look that bad when you zoom in on it. I actually like Palladium down here. It is back towards its support level down here. So I do think it's going to hold. That's my guess. If it doesn't hold, it'll probably do something like that, maybe a false breakdown below that support. But we are out of phase. Palladium generally does well in different phases than sometimes platinum and silver. But there has been times in history like 2009 where they all ran together. Is that the same exact time? I don't know about that. We'll see. But this does go out of phase sometimes with the other precious metals. Now, XAU to gold ratio. Remember this line for happiness, guys? You need to break this line for happiness. And I told you that I would be very bullish if we break this line. Okay, so let's see if we've broken the line. What do we got here, guys? Oh, broken line. Now this is broken on the monthly trend line. I zoomed in and I touched the closing points. So it's kind of like a soft breakout is what I'll call it, a soft breakout. But this is one to watch. This is one to monitor because if this continues to go up, we need as investors to be bullish on stuff that breaks down trend lines like this. We should also be bullish because it's cheap as get out down here. This is your opportunity right here. XAU, that right there, that's your opportunity. It's cheap. It's going to break this downtrend line. This is where you need to get bullish immediately. I know some of the stocks have run up quite a bit. We've been in them from that bottom in silver stocks and gold stocks on the website. Continue to be bullish, guys. That's what I'll say. Continue to be bullish. This is cheap and a very big opportunity for anyone who's looking. That's what I'll say. CRB index continuing higher. There we are, ripping to the upside there. We've got CRB to S&P 500 down a little bit, but still looks good for commodities to outperform. It's a little bloody nose, is what I call that, a continuation pattern. It's a small profit taking day, and we are coming from very cheap levels down here, guys. This will also correlate with the XAU to gold ratio. This will also correlate to energy ratios and stuff like that. This is all game on. When this thing moves, we're going to be laughing at our account values. Fingers crossed. This is the last bull market. Where I think we're located is right here. Where I think we're located is there. Two circles is where we're located, in my opinion. GDX up 3.23%. Does that look like a clear breakout? Yes, it does. It looks good, guys. We have a long way to go. And remember, the XAU to gold ratio was really cheap. Long valuation runway to run to the upside, given this next bull market. GDXJ also breaking out, looks absolutely fantastic. Very strong candlesticks there. Yes, we will still get pullbacks. It won't be straight higher, but I think it looks really good. And then SILJ also looking good, and a strong finish to the week, and also a strong finish to the day. It's looking very good and a clear breakout. Crude oil up a little bit. It was a little bit nicer earlier in the day, but kind of lost a little bit of momentum throughout the day. Still looks good to go higher. Here's your flag pattern. Boom. Rippy to the upside for crude oil. We're at 86.70 for for light crude oil futures. I think a really strong resistance level is about $93, $94. That's what we really need to break to get moving. TTF nat gas up 2%, looking pretty good, right on support resistance, just kind of hanging out there. Natural gas, Henry Hub, up a little bit, and I do think we'll continue our way up and probably get stuck at the $2-ish range, and then work our way up from there eventually. Our boy XOP, yeah, you know me, up 0.91%, broken the neckline, and we are hopefully going to continue higher over time. It looks really good. We've got OIH also up 1.3%, looking pretty solid. Strong momentum to the upside. Not too many pullbacks. You'd think we get a pullback or two, so maybe we'll get one here eventually. Sprott Physical Uranium Trust, little bit of selling pressure today. We're back to support, and we'll see if that support line holds. We could do this too. There we go. But it looks all right. URA down a little bit. That's an ugly looking candlestick there, that bearish engulfing pattern. We still could pull back a little bit here with that bearish engulfing with just a small little update today. You know, is this a bigger pattern where we could get a little bit more selling pressure and be more like a Batman pattern in the short term where it kind of comes on back before going on up? It's possible. But right now, there's a little bit of short-term pressure going to the downside. Uranium also seeing a little bit of short-term downside pressure there with that bearish engulfing. Not much of a bounce today. We might see a little bit more downside, maybe a retest back here over the next day or two. In URNJ, maybe a little bit more downside pressure back to support, which is very possible. But keep in mind, these can reverse quickly and violently in the uranium junior and uranium space. So they can just do one of these in a single day. So I'm not trading around this. I'm just saying we do still have a little bit of downside pressure left. TAN doesn't like those increasing rates, blah, blah, blah there. Ugh. But sideways. We've got copper up 0.22%. This looks fantastic still to work our way on up. Looks great. TOPX up a little bit today. Still looks good to go higher. Momentum's to the upside. Lithium down a little bit. Doesn't like higher rates. Along with REMX, a little bit lower today. Is this actually bottoming? It's kind of a weird looking bottoming pattern if it is. It could also be, and I'm just going to stretch this out, It could be a larger pattern like this. Maybe it's a consolidation and we'll see if we can break, but there's still downside momentum left in this thing. There's a lot of downside momentum here. And maybe this is a continuation pattern that goes lower. We'll see. SPX up. I don't know how, but God, this looks ugly, guys. Big bearish engulfing pattern there with that candlestick. We had a bounce today, but I hate to say it, momentum still to the downside. That's where I think it's favored. But I do know we're in a presidential election year, and maybe they're in there buying stocks. I don't know. And the Nasdaq also same setup, big bearish engulfing, and these things do stack up on top of each other, which gives you a topping pattern. But if they're going to get in there and start buying this stuff up, which is possible, the plunge protection team, we'll see where it goes. But right now, that looks like it wants to go lower. Momentum is lost, and you've got bearish engulfing patterns all up on there. KRE moving sideways, doesn't like the strengthening yields, but it seems like to me that this wants to go higher on any sort of weakness in yields. Think of the mortgage market and lending that is associated with homes and lower rates, if lower rates do materialize. Emerging markets doesn't like the strengthening yields either, so it just went sideways for the most part. XHB surprisingly up 1.4% in the face of stronger yields. This does look a little bit toppy. That may pull back a little bit more. MOO, I think MOO looks good for the VanEck agribusiness ETF to move higher. We've broken out of this trend line on a longer term basis, and everything looks kind of good. Iron ore working its way sideways. It's trying to base out, I think. Give it some time here, guys. It'll base out eventually, and we'll see if we can get some big bullish candlesticks like that, and then I'll say, you know what, we're going higher. That's a good reversal candlestick. But we don't have it yet. Wait and see. Nickel up today, and we do look like we're trying to bottom and work our way on up. We'll probably create some sort of like pattern or something like that. Aluminum up still 0.21%. This is a pretty big move here, and aluminum continuing to look strong. We have a pretty big base that we're basically breaking out of. So I think we're going to go higher, guys. Higher on aluminum. And I know that we get into some tightness in aluminum 2025, 2026, but I think the move will start this year, and this could be the start of that move. Baltic Dry Index down a little bit, and we're coming back to that support level that we've got down here, potentially. We've got Newcastle Coal up 1%. We still haven't broken out of that downtrend line. We're right underneath it. I have seen some of the coal stocks start to make a little bit of a run with some positioning in it. And I do think eventually this is going to break its way on up. Probably pretty soon. Definitely this year, I would say. But probably sooner than just this year. We could see it earlier than what we think. Bitcoin down a little bit. Buyers and sellers are dueling it out right here. I know the NASDAQ looks pretty nasty, and we'll see how correlated Bitcoin is to the NASDAQ, which I think is highly correlated. Which makes me think that, this could be a consolidation. Could be. It could also be a topping pattern, and we'll see what current comes next. If you start getting large selling pressure candlesticks, big down candlesticks like that, I would say we're going lower. If we continue to go into a corner here and we get big bullish candlesticks, I say we're going to break to the upside. So we're just waiting for this to kind of play out. Ethereum's doing the same thing. It doesn't have a ton of buying pressure, which makes me think that this could pull down lower with basically a little flag pattern there. Just drawing it in real quick. And then SMCI was down a little bit. This does look like a head and shoulders pattern with the neckline there. This does look like we could go lower. I don't know how they're going to stop this, guys. The herd's going to line this thing up to the downside. And NVIDIA, we'll see what that looks like. Up a little bit today, but these candlesticks, guys, those are bearish. Those are bearish. Those are not bullish candlesticks. That is not a trend continuation move. That is a selling pressure move historically that I've seen. And you could also say that maybe it is a pattern that might look like this or something, whatever it is. So that's what we're seeing in the markets at this time. Thumb up for the content, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the website if you guys like. And that's what I'm seeing in the markets right now. So don't forget, we've got a 5 p.m. question and answer session coming up this weekend, Sunday, Mountain Time, and I'll see everyone there. All right, guys, we'll catch you later. This is Finding Value.